ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week. You survived the weekend. God bless you. The last full week of June, a week from now, July 1st. Andrew will be here in July. Amazing that we've just wake up and next thing you know, it's Labor Day and all that other happy you know what. So first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsor and partnership at WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please hurry on over to Google Play, download it. It's free. And from there, I promise you, we'll take over from there. If you'd like to join this amazing team and community, send an email to affiliate@wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Big things happening the rest of this year and, of course, into 2025 and beyond. So without further ado, the star of this show, I heard there's a big hockey game tonight. I mean, it's almost July and they're still playing hockey, but we got other stuff to talk to. Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Well, you mentioned there's a game on tonight. I'm trying to wrap my head around which game it is, but I know it's not a game 4 or a game 5 or a game 6. Game 7. I can't wait, Jeff.
I am shocked here as I play producer here. Give me a second. This should do it. Boom. Nope. Yep. Kind of, sort of, not. I tell you, these kids. Let me try this one. Nope. Give me one more shot at this. Hold on. We'll go here. No. Why am I off today? Hold on.
We'll get there.
We will get there. I promise we will.
There
Look
it is.
That.
That's smooth. That's smooth.
How was your weekend?
Disappointing on the CFL front. Disappointing, I'll say. Took a shot with 2 big totals. Made the one of them a free play. Got a little bit fortunate. Team decided to kneel down to end the game. Could have scored. That one cashed. And then yesterday, live total at one point, and we don't want to use this too much, but live total was 44.5 in the Hamilton, Saskatchewan game. And it was kind of like in an NBA game when there's one team up by 25 points and the bench comes in and they just start raining 3-pointers. I mean, the amount of meaningless touchdowns, field goals, what happened in that fourth quarter, Jeff, it was despicable. It was tough to watch, but hey, if you're someone that likes to bet overs, you're having a great time in the CFL right now. And, you know, I tried playing contrarian a few times so far in this young season. It's worked out some. It hasn't worked out for others. But right now, underdogs and overs, that's the 1-2 combo. That's the 1-2 punch that's absolutely taking care of business. And your Elks, hey, they might not be winning games, but they are covering point spreads. And I debated all week long making my 5% play first half full game. We decided to go with the full game. And of course, doesn't matter what number you got, which I was kind of happy about that. They ended up winning by a field goal, walk-off field goal. So it was an exciting weekend in the CFL. And I have to say, you know, I enjoy watching the game first and foremost, but a little bit disappointed with the results. So because we're going to be here all summer long, Jeff, we're going to be here being fully transparent. Where I sit right now on the season officially with a 6-7 record, minus 1.94 units. So, hey, look, I mean, we're treading water right now. We're not getting crushed. We're not crushing it. We're just right there. We're about minus, 1.9 units, which is, it's not horrible, not great. And we'll try and bounce back here in week 4.
I must say my eyes are not deceiving me. We talk about it all the time. It's not like the NFL or college basketball, college football, where, every half point matters. You can see opening true numbers and 4 or 5 point corrections. And then, people are saying, oh my God, holy shit, McInnis must have went and dropped the bundle on this one. Look at him watch those line moves. And they're just true numbers versus corrected numbers in what they're going to release to the public. And then we start saying, is it true or is it false?
Right.
And it's Jedi mind tricks. Again, for us, unfortunate on a team total this weekend. I have to be honest with you, my only loss of the weekend. We went 3-1 Friday in bases, and we lost the team total, and it was set up perfectly. No excuses. They just didn't finish the deal on Friday night. Then we sweep the board on Saturday, plus 8.5 units in bases this week, plus 7 units last week. We're just crushing it. Yeah.
Great work.
Eyes as sharp as attack. The team totals, 3 sweat-free team totals on Saturday, yesterday didn't even put out an action parlay. My eye said Tennessee in college bases, and the real eye said that they were minus 210 on the money line, but minus 145 on the run line. They win 4-1 there. And plus 355 on Chris Bell in NASCAR. So we hit another NASCAR race there at Loudon, New Hampshire, about 3 hours from us, 2.5 hours. And then the Thursday night special, and I felt really bad. Wednesday, we bring Brady Kannon on at 5:00 for Tea Time Wagers. He had a huge pre-flop monster ticket on Tom Kim. And then Thursday, Scotty, I don't know, was a half dozen back. And I was like, well, if you want to scratch an itch, take Scheffler plus 200. It is what it is. Scheffler wins again in the PGA, in extras, in the sudden death, overtime, whatever you want to call it. So great couple weeks. Bryson last week, 20-1 pre-flop. So life's good, but I'm excited because there's no one I'd rather talk to right now than you. Honestly, dead honest, serious. Game 7, Stanley Cup. We already know this. Connor McDavid is your Conn Smythe winner. Win, lose, or draw, it's a wrap. I saw as high as like minus 4,000 at one point. I'm like, holy
wow.
shit.
And no goals last game, no shots last game, no assists last game, and he still has that number for Conn Smythe.
The next closest, I think Barkov, who's been Casper the Ghost, like plus 1,200, and everyone else is like plus 10,000. You're going to call me crazy here, and here's why. I had the write-up was Panthers in 6. Split. Panthers win game 5, win game 6. Didn't have them win in the first 3. Obviously didn't have the Oilers win in the next 3. We cornered the market. We got the Oilers plus 450. We got the Panthers plus 425. Numbers say absolute under tonight, but you got to lay some heavy juice. 5.5 minus 145 or 150. So first 1 to 3, maybe 2 wins this. I really, really, really feel bad for Florida right now, because if they lose this,
that's bad. It is.
Go back a couple of years ago now. President Cup trophy winner out in the first round. And then the Bruins said, hold my beer. We can do the same thing, which they did. But, Panthers have been knocking on the door, up 3-0. Are we going to celebrate in Edmonton, or are we going to take care of it in game 5? And they did neither. They didn't do it in 6. I'm nervous for them. Give us your thoughts. I can't wait to hear it.
Well, thanks so much, Jeff, and I'm super excited. I mean, what else can we ask for? I mean, there's nothing more we can ask for. If you're here for the drama, this is it. I mean, people were disappointed. There was a point in time where both NBA, NHL, we had expected, a 4-0 sweep on both sides, it looked like. And I said to you, I think it was like 2 Fridays ago, which feels like forever ago, let's just get 1 Game 5. We ended up getting 2 Game 5s, except for that's all she wrote in the other series. But in this one, we're getting 7. And I think that how you really have to break up this series, which isn't a big, bold statement by any means, is in quadrants of 3. Which quadrant do you care the most about? Because we haven't seen the Florida Panthers play Florida Panthers hockey in 3 games. It's been a long time, it feels like, at this point. A lot of flights, a lot of travel since they've looked like themselves. But that, to me, is the biggest question because, we often ask ourselves, how much do you care about recency bias? How much did you care about one game to the next? And that's why I completely understand that when Edmonton won Game 4, a lot of people went back on Florida in Game 5. But then you see Game 6, and now here we are in Game 7, and you ask yourself, how desperate are you to play contrarian? How desperate are you to go against the team that can't seem to lose right now? And Jeff, I think about you when I look at these opening numbers, and I think to myself, what's the number going to be? The last time it was in Florida, we saw 130s, 135s, 140s, and some books had this absolutely flipped where the Oilers were a favorite. And most places now have it as a pick. But when it comes down to it right now, I like the team that has the most depth. And if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago which team that was, I would have told you that's the Florida Panthers. Right now, that's not the case. And that's why I think the Oilers will be more successful. If we're sitting here and the entire series had been Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman scoring goals, piggybacking their way back in this series, I would have no issue whatsoever here in Game 7 in Florida. Florida gets the last change, telling you Florida's going to win tonight. But the big storyline for me is that McDavid didn't get 1 shot on goal last game. His over-under was 3.5 shots. He didn't get 1 point last game. His over-under was 1.5 points. And I know they scored 2 empty net goals, but when it comes down to it, this team, Jeff, put up 5 goals on the board, none of which were scored by Draisaitl or McDavid. To me, that's exciting as far as the Oilers are concerned. When you've got guys like Connor Brown, Adam Henrique, Ryan McLeod, those guys scoring goals, it has to be an exciting factor and something the Oilers are happy about. So that's why I do think the Oilers get the job done. Now, I have to give you credit because I'm watching with my friends the last time we spoke on Friday for the game. And what happens? The first period goes under, which you nailed, and then the full game goes over. And because of the empty net factor, it's kind of why you want to avoid playing the full games with these 5.5s. I did see something that Ralph Michaels put out. I think it's like 6-1 as far as the Stanley Cup Finals Game 7s to the under. So they are quite defensive. But here's one thing that I think when I look at this game, and I know you've had a ton of success backing unders in elimination games throughout the postseason. But do you think that either of these teams will get a 1-0 lead and sit back and protect it? Because that's the thing. I think if any team would do it, maybe Florida. But what we've seen is that neither team have been able to back down and kind of protect a lead unless there's 4 or 5 minutes to go in the game. Like maybe when there were 8-9 minutes to go on Friday night, I said to myself, okay, it's time for them to stop scoring. It's time for the Oilers to dump the puck deep and kill some time. At this point, I think we're going to see a ton of shots. The start of the series, first 3 games, we saw a Florida team that didn't care if they were behind the net, in the stands, at the concessions, wherever they were shooting the puck. Now, Jeff, they could have a wide open shot in front of the net, and they're looking to pass it. The Oilers it's the complete opposite. To start the series off, they were so fancy, so picky, and we can check the tape. I said the exact same thing here a few weeks ago. This team has to stop looking for the perfect play. Well, past 3 games they have. I think both teams certainly shoot everything they can, throw everything at the net. We see some rebounds. And who's to say the physicality is going to slow down? You don't like the referees and power plays and penalties to be a part of the game, but it's unfortunate they are a part of the game. I think we definitely see at least 1, maybe 2 power play goals. That means we only need a handful more goals to get up and over the totals. So I like the Oilers, and I do like the over here, Jeff.
As you know, I can't write and then type and send out to the clients all over the world here. I can't not be that guy and say, hey, take the under tonight. It's only minus 145 or 150. I can't do that. I really can't. Raymond Scott Sports, Stanley Cup Finals in Game 7 have had 5 goals or less in 14 straight and 15 of the last 16 dating back to the infamous 42 Leafs. Only in 1950, Red Wings, 4-3 double overtime over the Rangers was more than 5. Thank you, Mr. Scott Sports.
How many of those were McDavid on? How many of those teams did McDavid play on? Because that's the difference to me, really, it is.
Well, I'm going to take it a step further. I saw our good friend and colleague on Sports Grid, Joe Madden, throw out the plus 330 for overtime. I'm going to say something right here. I assume you've seen the movie. Do you remember when Rocky, what was it? Rocky 3, Apollo dies, and then he's got to go to Russia.
I love the Rocky movies. Yes.
Okay. So he's training in Russia, and then he gets in the fight. It's all Russian against Drago. And then by the 10th, 11th, 12th round, of course, the crowd starts swaying. I feel not just Canada, every state in America but Florida is rooting for the Oilers. And so you got this state in Florida. You're going to have the arena full of Panthers, and how many Oilers slipped through the crack there. And it's Canada and 49 states versus Florida tonight. and my point is, Florida knows one way. When's the last time they had a lead? Playing from behind. Bob is not Bob. There's a million that Luongo's going to be bringing the drum. They'll probably ask him to start tonight. Hey, come on. Can you give us 20 minutes? Yes, I like the first period under, of course. I do think it goes under. Could it be 2-2 overtime? Oh my God. If Edmonton scores in the first period and takes a 1-0 lead, you can hear a pin drop there. I've seen comparisons. This is worse than 28-3 Atlanta and the Patriots Super Bowl. I don't know how you could live in the offseason. There's Russell right there, USA. Blowing this. I don't. You had to sit in your shit for a year after winning the President's Cup and losing in the first round. Don't worry. The Bruins took care of that the following year. But I just don't know what to – can you imagine this? Honestly, up 3-0, playing in duck boats, parades. Is it going to be game 4, 5, at worst 6 now? And now you're sitting here in the game. Can you imagine if they blow this?
And I'm not sure if it's the same for the broadcast that you're watching in the States, but they continuously with the Canadian broadcast show the management for Florida. Have you been seeing that, Jeff, with Zito? Yes. I think that's his name up there. I mean, throwing water bottles, looking like a stone cold killer up there, hasn't smiled in 2 weeks, it seems like. And that's the thing is, you mentioned all of it. And then, of course, with them losing last year, I mean, Paul Maurice, even though I am cheering for the Oilers here, Paul Maurice, you got to feel bad for the guy. I think he's one of the best coaches to never win a Stanley Cup yet. He really is, I think. But a lot has to be put on Chris Knobloch. You think about there was a time in the season, the regular season, the Oilers went, I believe it was 14 or 15, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, 14 or 15 games without a regulation loss. And I'm pretty sure in all but one of those, they allowed 2 or fewer goals. A lot of that has to do with Chris Knobloch, the defensive systems. And I keep on saying this. If you go back and look at the film, the first 3 games, all the goals the Panthers scored, none of those goals look like how the Oilers scored their goals. They were all pretty much waiting for the Oilers to make mistakes and scoring after that. Like, this reminds me of a soccer match where one team maintains 70% of the possession, but they lose 3 games in a row. And then finally, the team that's creating the chances, has the possession, ends up scoring. So for all the people out there that were in my DMs and tweeting at me when I was talking about expected goals, well, here you are. And here we are in game 7, because, Jeff, as you know, I've gotten a lot more analytical with my hockey handicapping. And it turns out that all the stuff that was happening in the first 3 games just started to come through because their goals are finally there. I saw Raymond's response there. But, you know, and that's the thing. And that's the thing, is that to me, it makes a huge difference. And you mentioned Bobrovsky. Who would have thought that Stuart Skinner would be currently outshining Sergei Bobrovsky? That's the big thing. And can Stuart Skinner live up to the moment? Can he go without letting in a weak one once again? And I got to give credit. You know, people keep talking. I saw a tweet about this Oilers defensive core talking about Kulak and CC and some of those guys. Well, I feel like Darnell Nurse and Bouchard and some of those guys aren't getting the credit they deserve, because what I've noticed as well is the centers. So McDavid and those guys, they're staying back a lot more to help the defensemen get the puck out of their end. And then the 2 forwards are up along the wall, the wingers, and the center is hanging back to receive a pass to help out those defensemen. And it seems like in the first 3 games, the defensemen weren't really being helped out by their centermen to get the puck out of their own end. Right now, the Oilers would rather ice the puck than turn the puck over. But again, for me to play the other side here, nothing else matters for the Panthers if they win this one. Choking the 3-0 lead away, last year losing in the finals, nothing else matters if they raise the cup over their shoulders tonight. Can they get a big game out of Bobrovsky? Can Verhaeghe find the back of the net? Can Reinhart get going? But I still believe if you pulled up both rosters right now and asked me which team has the most depth, I would shockingly tell you right now it's the Edmonton Oilers. And pretty much since McDavid joined the team, the big question has been, when they're in big games, can they have success and can they win without him doing a lot of the work? And if you would have told me on Friday night that they would have won that game 5-1 and McDavid was practically offensively irrelevant, not defensively, but offensively, I probably would have told you you're crazy on a Friday night. But here we are with a couple guys that, you know, probably making less than $2 million a year, scoring big goals for the Oilers in game 6.
Well, comically, after the last 3 games, and I'll piggyback off of what you're saying there, I think Stuart Skinner has got a new contract for him for the next couple of years. I don't know what his situation is, but I think they found their goalie, and I think they're comfortable. They won't be calling the Bruins. And I saw this yesterday, a couple of the locals. I don't believe it because I know he vetoed a trade to the Kings, but keep your eyes on a 3-way deal in Ullmark to the Senators. They're hot and horny for Ullmark. So if I had a choice between LA and Ottawa, sign me up for LA 7 days. I know what the hell you're doing there, but we'll be plenty of hockey talk there. So all right. So props, thoughts, how you playing the game?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I do like the Oilers side. I'm with you. The fact that we will get a good start to the game defensively. It does have that, like, Jeff, I feel like if you like the under 1.5 first period, you almost want to pick the winner and pick exact score first period, because whenever the under 1.5's hitting, it's one team getting a goal. I got to go back to an old reliable, and this is Tarasenko over 1.5 shots. One thing I've learned in the prop betting world is when a bet loses after it's been on a huge streak, you don't turn your back on it. You go back to it one more time. It's kind of like a fool me once, fool me twice situation. If you lose once on it, you give it a chance again. Florida didn't have their offensive game. And like I said, playing at home, they're going to want to test Stuart Skinner as much as they possibly can. I'm not sure they're going to be able to fire 28 to 30 shots, but they're going to try. and the number at 1.5 being there, it's crazy. It's kind of like in the NFL, if a guy's over under for receptions was 4.5, and all they did was change the juice, and they never changed it to 5.5. That's the deal here with Tarasenko. He should have been at 2.5 probably 2 weeks ago, but they haven't changed it. We're going to go Tarasenko over 1.5 shots on goal. And here's one. Speaking of the depth for the Oilers, I've been talking about it the whole show so far. Warren Foegele, plus 140 to record a point. This guy has been phenomenal. He's been scoring goals. He's been getting assists. He has at least 1 point in 4 straight games, and you're getting a plus 140 mark here. I do think McDavid bounces back. I think McDavid has a great game, but as I keep saying, the difference maker in this game is going to be not the top 6 for both these teams. Which team has the first goal from the bottom 6? And I think that whether it's Foegele, whether it's Brown, whether it's McLeod, somebody like that will help out this Oilers team tonight. Plus 140 is a real good one. How about a unique prop here with over 1.5 blocked shots for Aaron Ekblad, defenseman for the Panthers? A little bit chalky, but a worthy of a bet, in my opinion. Game 7, what do we always say, Jeff? They're going to throw everything on the line. Regular season, you don't hear me handicapping block shots. But these guys here in the postseason, sacrificing their body. I mean, you see the stats sometimes where it shows teams attempted shots, and they're up there in the 90s sometimes, close to 100, whether they're missing the net or getting them blocked. I really do like that one. And here are a few sprinkles. I got a few sprinkles here as far as goal scorers if people are looking to have fun here. Evan Rodriguez, plus 400, 4-1. He's had a few goals for the Panthers, and I think their depth will have to step up if they're going to get it done. We're going to go with Matthias Janmark, plus 550. He's been solid for this Oilers team. Another good depth piece for them. Vladimir Tarasenko, if I'm going to mention him to over shots on goal at 1.5, I might as well mention him to score a goal. He's plus 380. And then this is the last one I'll mention. Draisaitl has not scored a goal in the entire series. What better game for him to get his first goal of the series here? It's only at plus 180. To me, it's worthy of a bet. I mean, all playoffs long, you know what his price was to score a goal? Plus 120, 125, 130. Now you're going to give me Draisaitl at plus 180. I think if you sprinkle on those few guys to get a goal, we only need to hit two or three of them to make some real good money. We hit one of the plus 550s, you're already in the money. So a couple sprinkles there on some goal scorers, Jeff.
And the one prop I do have in this game, we haven't projected at 4 shots on goal. He's at 2.5, minus 120 or 125, depends where you shop. Leon Draisaitl. We
Nice.
got him at 4 shots. So what better than going over 2.5, and on the third shot, it's a goal for you. How's that?
I like that. That sounds great to me.
Friday, obviously, we'll be back on your channel. I love our start of the week on Monday on our channel, Friday on yours. Before we get to the closing remarks here, anything in bases, anything early to take a look at in the CFL opening numbers, anything catching your eye?
Jeff, I actually do not have anything in baseball yet. I apologize. Nothing there. But as far as I will say this. I saw your alert yesterday. I have been kind of following along with the college baseball. I'm on the minus 1.5 today for Tennessee. I think they close it out. I think if people want to play it safer, because it's not like you see some of these bigger games where, the pitchers are out there, you're getting all the best, you're utilizing everybody, it goes under. I feel like this game goes out with a bang. I wouldn't talk anybody off the over 5.5 team total for Tennessee. That way you don't even have to sweat the 1.5 run line there. So that is one play I have locked in baseball. But people probably should have listened to you and just taken the series win yesterday at the nice plus price there. Jeff, here's something to mention here, though. What 3 of the 4 games for CFL week 4 in the 50s as far as the totals. I told you I took a swing at 2 of the highest totals on the board. We went 1-1. Unfortunately, the one that won was the free play, but hopefully people were able to cash on that. We've got a 52.5 Edmonton, BC. We have a 50.5 Montreal, Toronto, and a 51.5 Hamilton, Ottawa. The only game in the 40s, we've got Winnipeg and Calgary. So this one's kind of interesting, and I'll be honest, I haven't had the best of luck being a huge contrarian this season, but here's one I like. I talked last week a lot about how strong I feel about betting on teams coming off a bye. And I want to continue to do that, but let's be honest here. Even the CFL odds makers know about that. They know about the bye weeks just like we do, right? And if you see, Calgary opened up, well, I should say Winnipeg opened up -4.5. Some look-ahead numbers at some books that I use here in Canada had even 5.5 there. Winnipeg's 0-3. Their best receiver was just announced out for I think 4 to 5 weeks on the injury reserve. All of a sudden, that 4.5, which I did see 5.5 at some spots, is down to 2.5, 3.5 at some books. And I'm going to go ahead and take Winnipeg because I think this is a good spot. Calgary, to me, is a team that I am much lower on than a lot of people. Jake Mayer is a good quarterback. I get it, but he hasn't had to play in tough situations yet. We covered the spread with a late field goal. The last time Calgary played, they played BC. BC was at home. I get it. Calgary's off a bye. I don't trust their defense, and I also don't trust them playing from behind. Sure, if they're trading field goals, if they're up 3, if they're down 3, if you put this team in a situation where they're down a touchdown, they play with desperation. They start throwing plays that they shouldn't. They start throwing balls into coverage. That's when I don't trust Jake Mayer. When the Calgary Stampeders can't run the ball and they come predictable with their throwing, you can really read them. So what I kind of feel like is going to happen, and I don't know for sure, I think money's going to come in on this Winnipeg team as we've seen, and then I think it might bounce back up the other way again. So I'm going to lock in Winnipeg at a -3 number. Shop around. -3.5 I'm still fine with. If you can get the 3, that's really good. And the other one I saw here was Hamilton, Ottawa. Even though I'm kind of drinking the Kool-Aid that we're going to see Winnipeg snap their losing streak, I don't think Hamilton's very good, and I don't see them getting better anytime soon. I think Ottawa looked a lot better against Montreal and the kind of ass-kicking they took last Thursday than what the score indicates. Montreal, we keep on talking about it, Jeff. They create 2 or 3 turnovers every game. They've got a bunch of receivers that make plays. I don't think Hamilton's going to turn the ball over on Ottawa like that. I actually am going to lay the points at home with Ottawa here. And I think a lot of people are going to look at Ottawa and say, no, they're still the same team and the preseason rankings here. But this is one game where I will say my kind of quote unquote season reaction here. I don't trust Hamilton whatsoever. So I'll take a home shot here with the Ottawa Red Blacks to get the job done.
Great stuff as always. And I want to bring back to Tennessee for a second. Obviously, you get our information. A good learning point here. Tennessee started the championship, let's say -200 to win against A&M. They were -200. Game 1, Aggies shocked the world and win game 1. Now going into yesterday, you could have got Tennessee +125 to win the series. And as I clearly stated in the write-up, I liked Tennessee to win. I liked them on the run line yesterday. But most of all, why lay the -200 when you can get them +125 to win the series? Well, they win 4-1 yesterday. Now they're -200 again today. So if you took the +125 on the Vols to win the series, you can go back and grab the Aggies tonight +180 and guarantee yourself at worst a +25 cents per every 100 or $25. Or if the Aggies upset them, you're getting 80 on the other side. So that's what we're here trying to teach. We're trying to educate with a little entertainment. And that's just common knowledge what people really need to start learning, Andrew.
The betting the numbers, not looking at the team necessarily, looking at the numbers. And you always talk about respecting the numbers. And if we switch back to the Oilers series, that should tell us all we need to know about what the bookmakers think of this Oilers team. Obviously, they probably thought, maybe we'll get some Florida money if they're not -140, 145. Maybe we will actually get some money back on them. But at this point, the respect we're seeing in the market towards this Oilers team, not only do us as bettors, but the bookmakers think this series has certainly changed. And you look at the CFL, it's a really good example of following the market as well. I've got one monitor that pretty much 24 hours a day has the lines open. And you have to ask yourself, do you fall for the head fakes? Do you fall for the movements, or do you stick to your guns? And I think right now, looking at the CFL board, when you've got it lighten up like it's December 25th on a cold day, you have to ask yourself, what do you believe and what do you not? And for me, look, I'm transparent, minus 1.9 on the season through 3 weeks. We'll take care of that. No time. We'll get back with a winning week next week. But I think that you have to look at some of these numbers and decide, do you want to wait until Friday to bet in them, or do you want to bet them on Monday or Tuesday? And even though it ended up losing either way, my first bad line I got was -6 on the Argos, and it closed -4.5. And as we saw last week or season, and you reminded me of it, I mean, the line movement didn't mean a hell of a lot in the CFL, but it still is important to us to try and get the best number we possibly can. So, of course, I think you would agree with me, Jeff, and we'll say it to everybody. The end result is what matters, but how you get there is really important.
100%, 100%. And our goal is, take it from Eddie Murphy. We don't want the banana and the tailbite, and we try to stay away from that. The scroll has been going the whole time. Everyone here knows where to find you on Twitter or X at McInnis Picks. All you work at WagerTalk Sports Mayflower. Run on over to YouTube, subscribe to Mayflower Sports. It's free while you're there. If you haven't already, subscribe to East Coast Sports Investors, also on YouTube. But as we always close with that 7-yard button hook, what do you got to offer at Wager Talk for the family?
Yeah, right now, I'm going to promote tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow, if you look ahead, we've got a deal going one day only, 25% off anything you put in your cart, whether it's a 30-day, whether it's 365 days, whether it's my CFL full season. When the clock strikes midnight tonight, you can go shopping over at wagertalk.com. Go to my homepage, and you can get baseball, you can get UFC, CFL, 10 days, 30 days, whatever it is, for 24 hours will be 25% off. So it's a fill your cart day over there at WagerTalk. You don't want to buy one single play tomorrow. You want to buy a package and get your savings. And it reminds me, Jeff, you might laugh at me for this, but sometimes I take my dog to daycare, and it's not cheap. It's expensive. But he loves it if I've got a busy day. And when I moved back home to where I'm from, they gave us a deal at the daycare. It was a one-time only 50% off any package we wanted to use. And my girlfriend looks at me, who and she says, well, we'd be fools not to buy the biggest package we could. So we bought I think it was like 90 days or 60 days, whatever it might have been. We've been moved back here for about probably a year and a year and 2 months. We haven't purchased a new package since, because, we had those savings. So with this being 25% off on one day, I'm not saying people have to go out there and buy my whole year package, but if you're ever interested in my CFL best bets, in my UFC plays, the best thing to do is to go ahead and tomorrow take a look at what you want and take 25% off any package. So I appreciate the time for me to do my little promo there, Jeff, and you're on one red hot run, so keep it going.
That's the job. That's what we're trying to do. It's nice to be on a heater any time of year, but especially in the summer as we get closer to the dog days of summer. So we're going to keep the eyes sharp as always and keep the chains moving. That's what we're going to try to do. So tonight, again, if you got the split screen, you got the hockey on one channel, you got the NCAA Game 3 winner take all in Omaha. You can keep an eye on your phone or the scroller for the baseball. So, excuse me, a lot of good stuff here. Shout out to Raymond Scott Sports. Shout out to Russell Saylor and, of course, Mr. Daniel Berry as well. At 5 o'clock, myself and Riley Magnuson will be back for the closing bell. Tuesday, actually, hold on one second here. Let me just do this. Thank you, Mr. Sailor, as always there. I'll be back Friday with Andrew around 3:15 on his channel. We'll be recapping the Cup. We'll be talking some CFL and all that good stuff. So for
And
myself,
Jeff, I will
Dawson,
have I'm sorry, I will have NHL draft stuff for you. So we'll have some NHL picks in the draft.
Well, I will have my pen and pad on hand. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me. Lots more to go. We got the NHL awards coming up, the NHL draft, the combine, all that stuff going on for the training camps. So I'm looking forward to free agency starts on July 1st. So we'll have to get our futures in. We'll have to get our futures in before free agency starts.
That's next Monday, by the way.
Yes. Time flies. Time flies.
It does. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investor, one and only Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks at WagerTalk. We wish everyone a blessed afternoon. We'll see you in about 1 hour. Stay tuned.